And so what I want to do tonight is, just go through a few of the real basics when it comes to starting or rebirthing an online business or a brand, and or getting in touch with your like business identity. And what I want to do is explain. I've been talking a bit about how you work out your perfect customers and finding your soul tribe, or the people you want to work with, or the people you want to target. And it's a little bit different online. And some of you may already work online. Some of you may be stepping it up a little bit. Some of you might be completely transforming your business to online. And so there's a few things that are really good to get to know where to have laser focus and what to focus on, so you know what will really serve you. Because as I just said before, when I did a little live on my personal page introducing what I'm doing now, is I've been sitting really close to the fire again, or hot, is what, on the online space, there's so much noise there. We have to be really laser clear on who we're focusing and who we're talking to. So, for example, you don't just go to a dating, a women's event, and if you want to target men, or you wouldn't go to, like I say to a lot of my clients, you wouldn't go to the bar at 4 a.m. to find your perfect husband, especially if you're in your 30s or 40s and really into health and wellness. So, hey, Simon, who's on the live stream, and hey, Natasha, that's just jumped on Zoom. So before I dive into that, I just want to take a moment too for just everyone to just have a breath. There's so much going on at the moment, and I've had a lot of calls today. A lot of people in my community are coming down with corona. It's starting to hit home a lot, and so just like look after yourselves when you are starting to go into business and transform, or when you start working from home, or something you know and love, like your office, and your familiarity and your routine's been taken away from you. It really affects the nervous system when you hear that people you know and love are having to go to hospital and have got coronavirus. It gives you a degree of certainty, and it affects your nervous system. And, anyway, before this happened, we've all got dysregulated nervous systems, which is why I bring in a lot of activations and meditations into my work, because I think being grounded is such an important thing. And as you know, I was a trauma nurse for many years, and I experienced a very dysregulated nervous system. And basically, our bodies are these days being perceived that we are being chased by a bear that's not there. But there was a really cool article someone sent me the other day. I'm trying not to read too many of those WhatsApp messages that are mostly untrue and unfactual and not cited evidence at all. But this one was pretty cool. It was like a letter from a friend to a friend, and it said, I realised I was getting really dysregulated, and I was feeling really nervous. And then I realised I was being chased by a bear that's not there, but I couldn't run. I couldn't escape the bear, and I'm stuck and I'm isolated at home, and I can't escape the building. And our often, we want to run, and those safety things that we have may not be available. So it is affecting us, and it is real. It's happening. And so we need to do the best we can to look after ourselves and our families. We need to keep our nervous systems regulated, which means balance, and really, balancing yourself so you can perform in the very best way you can, and you can be a leader. And you can't do that if you're exhausted, and you can't do that if you're not yourself, and you can't do that if your nervous system's all over the place and you're just like pumping adrenaline and cortisone, even if you don't know you are. So just take a moment to just relax and have a breath, and just be here now. And I'm just going to, and yeah, I just want to also just, yeah, take a moment to also really thank all the people that are working on the front line. A couple of my friends passed away today, that are nurses and doctors, and that's really sad. And I'm just so honoured that I know them and that they're just, you know, friends of mine's kids that are nurses and doctors are getting the illness. And let's just take a moment to think of those people that are out there fighting selflessly. And yeah, so what really motivates me is that because I can't be on the front line at the moment, I had the choice to go back to Australia, but my home is here and I'm not a nurse here. Is what I can do is really inspire entrepreneurs to really make the most of their time right now so they can make money and give back to their communities, you know. So I think those of us that have the ability to work online and pivot and suit the market needs and be able to cater for that and make money to help our communities is going to be really important. You know, like I thought today about like even foster kids and kids that are going to be left without parents or grandparents that were their primary caregivers. And I got slightly overwhelmed. So, you know, it's really good to have a strong why sometimes and really know what you're doing. So anyway, on with the show. So we're going to talk about a quick rehash on, you know, really identifying your niche and who you're targeting, and then where to find them and what platforms are really working for who. And then how they're rated, because a lot of us put a lot of energy into platforms that don't necessarily rate that high. So if you're really trying to build a brand and really trying to become an expert in your field, you might be literally, excuse my French, but pushing shit uphill if you're putting yourself in the wrong place. It's like, you know, going to find male clients at a women's only event or something. So really, you know, these days, like, your perfect client isn't just like a woman that's 35 that drives a Mercedes. You know, to really speak to our clients online, we have to really, you know, feel them. They want to feel that you are speaking just to them. Have you ever seen a post and thought, oh my God, like that she knows me. She's speaking to me. That's for me, you know, like, so there was a chick that writes like that, and I basically contacted her. I'd been following it for a while, and I wrote to her and I was like, what do you do? I'll do whatever you do. I'll buy whatever you sell, which happened to be vitamins and a training program. So I was like, great, I'll do it, which is really good because it's coming in quite handy at the moment. And she could have sold, I don't know, bicycles, and I probably would have brought one because I really felt that I knew and liked and trusted her, and her message spoke to me. It really did. And this is where we've got to come from, like scarcity and abundance. Is like many of us are in fields where there's lots of other versions of what we do, but there's only one you, and people are looking for you. You know, there are so many people in the world, and you know, like I was talking to a client earlier that does yoga. She's like, but I just do yoga. And I was like, there's only one you. And why don't we tweak that using your past experience? Why don't we tweak that yoga? So, you know, you're an expat, you're an ex-teacher, you've taught in schools, you love kids, and you've lived as an expat mum, and you've had kids, you know how isolating it is. So why don't you do yoga for expat kids and families online? She's like, wow. You know, so that's what happens when we really get to know our niche, when we get to really know who we can cater for. And it's got to do with things that we've experienced, and that's normally versions of ourselves, you know. Like, for example, as you know, I work heavily in the super yacht industry and in medicine, and I really like to have a policy, you know, and I don't feel that people that haven't sailed on boats and been to sea should be teaching medicine on boats, because you need to know the etiquette. You need to know to take your shoes off. You need to know to ask where the day head is and not the toilet. And, you know, you've got to be cool. And that's when people start to really pay attention, is when you really know what you're talking about and you really know your niche. And so I talk a lot about this in my programs. I drive people mad because I'm like, you know, what underwear do they wear and what do they dream of wearing? And everyone's like, Jesus, get on with it. But there's a reason for that. We really want people to feel like you know that client better than they know themselves. So you already know what they want and you pay attention to what they need. Excuse me, I'm just muting someone. And so the next thing is like, how do we know where these people are hanging out? You know, so for example, I was speaking to someone, one of my clients today, and she does quite high-end business coaching. And she's been doing it quite a while and she's quite established in her field and she has a high ticket item. And her perfect client is about, you know, a 40-year-old woman that's corporate. And, you know, I was like, and she's been doing big speaking events for a long time and she's done a lot of corporate speaking and she was on the speaking tour. So all her speaking engagements have been finished. So she's looking at how to position herself online. And she was like, so I'm going to start a TikTok account. And I'm like, so TikTok's fun. It's a new thing. All the kids are doing it. There's lots of dancing and you can have a lot of fun with it. I certainly have got lots of, you know, lots of likes on TikTok, but it was for something really stupid as well. But it's like, why would you put your energy there? Because your clients, your perfect clients, aren't going to be on TikTok. You know, what about, you know, that's where you need to, you know, I'm not a great example of this, I'm still working on it, but that's where you need to build your LinkedIn and then maybe your YouTube. And another thing, you know, that we need to really look into as well with business is we put our energy into these social media platforms that don't always rate that well with Google, you know. So I was talking about this in a group the other day, is that, you know, website sites still rate really high. You get, you know, like quite a few points if you are running a daily blog. And if that blog is on your main page, which I haven't been doing for a while, but I actually got to swap that round. But, you know, this is how I'm learning this stuff. So when my blog, you know, I was getting I've built and sold a few blogs and I was like, how's this happening? Like, why? I'd look at the statistics and there were thousands upon thousands of people looking at like my Nurse Manda blog that I sold last year, like, thinking, no one even knows. I don't even publicize this blog. I'm just like putting my information there. But the reason so many people were seeing it, because I was using the SEO words and the search engines, and because I'd already looked into what people were interested in, and I was using it for my YouTube channel, which was showing first aid tips. And so I knew people, for example, you know, this is why you got to get to know your niche and what they need. So I look after high performance sportsmen and their families, you know, in yachting, especially from a medical point of view. So I realised that, like, when I started researching the keywords, the most commonly looked for thing was rotator cuff injuries. You know, there was just no information on that, and febrile convulsions. And, you know, so I made a febrile convulsion video and like I had 40,000 views in 24 hours, you know, because I looked at those words. And then because I was constantly putting those YouTubes and those blogs on the front page of my website, not in the blog section. I had the blog section, but I had the blog section constantly updating on the main page. I was just getting so many views and so much attention from people I'd never even met before that were then, you know, starting to follow me on my main pages. It was crazy. And so that's how I got really into building up blogs and YouTube channels and then handing them on and selling them on. It's super fun. So, you know, this is stuff we've got to look at because people get really carried away with Facebook. So like I said to my client, you know, I was like, so at the moment we're all working from home, and when you're in corporate, it's okay to be on LinkedIn during the day. It's socially acceptable. You know, you could be in your office cubicle and on LinkedIn and you know, your boss comes in or your PA comes in and it's cool. But if you're on Facebook or TikTok, like watching people, you know, do a dance with words flashing up, it's not going to be a good look. So those clients will probably be using those platforms after hours. And even when they're working from home, a lot of their computers are monitored or even blocked out from that, right? So, you know, also I think in these times, it's going to be survival of the fittest. It's going to be like things that are really strong and sturdy are going to survive, which we're seeing everywhere. Like look at aeroplane companies and, cheap airways, disappearing, and cheap products and things that don't have those stable foundations will fall by the wayside. So you've got to, have those strong foundations, which comes back to a good web page. You've got to have those strong foundations, which is like talking to, you don't want everyone to like you. In fact, you want to polarize some people so they actually don't like you, because the more people that don't like you, the more people that do like you will find you. And then you start looking at them and thinking, what do they want and what do they need and where do they hang out, right? So then you get to choose one of the social medias, to really focus on. So one of the main social ones, so Facebook, really good at like the 40 to 50-year-olds. Loads of us are on there. Instagram, probably more like the 20, 30-year-olds, getting more popular in our age group as well. TikTok, once again, for the younger crowd, it's starting to become more popular, but for that, you get massive amounts of leads. And then, so there's a lot in the follow-up there too, I found it slightly overwhelming, so I put that one in a basket for a while, but got great results while I was playing around on it over Christmas and understanding how it all worked and how the TikTok algorithms worked. So when you find your site, and then that's where your clients that you want to work with are hanging out, then you've got to get to know how they're using it. What are their habits, So if you're targeting mums, they're not going to be online at school drop-off. Maybe at school pickup, they're, on their phone in the car waiting for the kids to come out. They're not going to be online in breakfast time or during witching hour, are they? Like, it's impossible unless they just leave everyone to it and shut themselves in a room. Pretty hard. Entrepreneurs are generally online and checking that sort of thing at about 10 in the morning. And then, I've noticed definitely with this all going on now, people are keeping different hours. And I'm getting a lot of views at this time of night, even later. Like when I post at like 10:30 or 11, normally I'm like when I'm living a normal life and, working and running face-to-face courses. I go to bed at like, I'm asleep by 9 and up at 5:30 and get my exercise and some working before I go and run the courses and the workshops. But right now, like I can sort of be a little bit flexible and look after my Australian clients like later at night. So where are they? Who are they? Where are they hanging out? And what times are they hanging out? Because the next thing we've got to think about that in these platforms, such as Facebook, I was just on a call with one of my colleagues and we were discussing how like with Facebook, really only 15% of the people that you're friends with are going to see your posts at a time. And then how you get, those posts going more is, the people that watch you, the people that like you, the people that comment on your posts, the people that you interact with. Then when you come on live, you'll flash up under their eyeballs. So how do you get yourself in front of their eyeballs? And so often another thing I see, like I'm all about organic marketing. I did a lot of Facebook ads and did, all right with it, a few years ago, but you can't just spend like $5 a day and have these ads going and get all these leads. These days it's really, I'm all about organic marketing. You save a shit ton of money on advertising and you get to really build relationships. And a lot of, the clients I get are people that I've known for years, that I taught medicine to like 10 years ago, or that I worked in corporate medicine with like, 5 years ago, or that I nursed with, and see when I go back to Australia and, top up my ER and ICU skills. And, they're not necessarily people I met last week online and had a chat with, because they're like my perfect clients as well. Like, I guess they're the people I'm targeting. So who are they? What are they into? Where do they hang out? And at what times do they hang out? And then take an interest, and then also and then who do they hang out with, and who are their friends, and what turns them on, what lights them up, and how do you get yourself in front of their friends' eyeballs? You know, so like commenting on their posts. How often have you seen someone that's written an intelligent comment on someone's post and you've clicked on their face and that had a sticky beak? Hopefully I'm not the only one, it's market research. And another thing I notice is like so often people just, one thing that really gives me the shit, sorry, Australian nurse and a sailor, I do swear, but is I administrate a few groups, you know, for the love of everyone. It's just something I love. I love getting people together, especially like wild women and wild adventures and fun. It's just a hobby of mine, you know, to find cool playmates, right? And then so many people would join these groups to just throw their flyer out there and they give back nothing in return. So I always say to people, you know, you can jump on a live. One of you guys watching, you know, jumped on I said today, I was like, hey, join this group and do a live and show people you. And she did the most amazing live this morning. It was beautiful, by the way. And then people get to, you know, see you and feel you. And I'm all for people advertising on the groups I administrate that way. But where the people just throw their flyers all over the place and then don't comment, don't give you any, like, you know, love hearts, they don't follow anyone else. It's like there's no relationship building there. That's not socializing, that's not social media. And I don't want to do business with someone that I'm not building a relationship with. So this is how we really, like, you know, start looking at how we can serve our markets, looking at how we can serve our people and looking how we can really have fun with it. You know, like there's an organisation that I, you know, have done a lot of education and digital marketing education with, and, you know, they've got this motto, the more fun I have, the more money I make, you know, and I love it, you know, and I want to, like, the people I work with, I'm going to spend more time with than my husband. So I want to love them. You know, as I say to my clients, like, you know, when you're thinking of your clients, would you go and spend a few days camping with them or share a bed with them? Because, you know, you're going to be spending a lot of time with them. I'm really lucky that, you know, in my coaching world, they're like my best friends. In the medical world, you know, and the sailing world. Well, in the sailing world, sometimes we do actually have to share a bed. Normally, hopefully someone gets out and goes and drives the boat, but we actually literally do share beds with people, so we have to really like them. And they have to have clean socks. That was random, but anyway. Is this making sense? Can I have some love? Or some thumbs up? Or a question? Anyone want to give me any feedback? Is there anything I could go into a bit more?
In my case, I mean, this is Natasha. Hello.
Hi.
It's very complicated. Hi. Now, the thing about targeting is it's very complicated because, you know, being a charter broker, you cater to so many different types of people that, you know, how do you know? I mean, how do you aim for them? How, you know?
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
No, it's not actually. It gets to be really fun because you can still come up with something really unique and so you're not going to get, like, say if I was your perfect client, because I love taking my family every Christmas on a charter boat in Antigua, and I want to have like all these, you know, I want it like 2 catamarans for my whole family, and I'm going to do it every year, and probably even a med trip as well. So, you know, it doesn't mean you're going to get, like, I don't know how many clients you need a year, but 20 versions of exactly me, but they're all going to have similar things. So what am I looking for in a charter? I want to go somewhere where there's kite surfing. I want to be on a multi-hull. I want there to be enough cabins that we can have young kids in. So it's kid friendly, but we go to cool places where the wind's banging on and there's a cool scene. There's some sexy people and a few good bars, you know. And so when you're like putting those ads out there, you're doing it for me, not just a pretty picture, you know. So you're not putting you know, so if I'm more into sailing boats and multi hulls and I'm your perfect client, then I'm probably not going to really pay that much attention to 100-meter you know, gin palace. That's just not my jive, because I spend so much time on them anyway. But if I was stinking rich, I can't really imagine myself chartering one of them. Do you know what I mean? However, on the other hand, the guy that charters the 100 meters isn't going to even look twice at the family catamaran boat sitting at, you know, the picture of it sitting at Green Island with a kite going past. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but no, it's because, yeah, I mean, I work with so many different clients. You have the cat guy, the sailing yacht, the motor yacht, the super ultra biggest, fastest, whatever yacht.
Yeah.
And so it's very difficult to make one kind of, yeah, you have to sell yourself in different ways, I guess.
Yeah, so then you have like 5 different versions. So for the power boat, you know, is it a family kind of guy or is it a party boat? Yeah, so you know, as you go on, you end up having, like, so for my programs I've got 4, because I've got 4, you know. So for, I don't have the same target person. My perfect client, I could tell you everything about this person. It's based on a combination of 2 of my fab clients, and they're my perfect client for marine medicine and adventure medicine, because they do everything. In fact, they do these clients actually do all my programs, no matter what I'm doing. They do the mindset, you know, they do the business for their charters, they do the marine medicine, so they're total perfect clients. But they are a different perfect client than what I'm going for with the Elite Entrepreneurs program, where I'm really targeting people like yourself, you know, to come and work with me so I can, like, you know, help you disrupt the, you know, industry and really stand out. So and then that would be really different than someone in what, you know, I'd call like the baby nest, someone that's sort of just shifting around going, oh, I kind of like what you do, and maybe they just want to join like a $20 a month membership program. That would be a completely different, you know, and they probably don't have a clue what they want to do with their life or their business or online or anything, you know. So so you end up, you practice with one, and then you start building on it, and then the one that's the most successful will probably be the one on your main page, you know, the picture on your banner. And you know, so for each of those programs too, like the guy that hires or charters the 100-meter isn't going to be on Facebook at 10 o'clock in the morning.
No, of course.
Highly unlikely, right? So why even bother posting? And he's definitely not going to be on TikTok unless he's a young gene. Do you know what I mean? So this is how we get to really feel into who they are and where they're hanging out and where to focus our energies and what to learn, or how to work with our marketing teams. You know, we get to say to our marketing teams, like, don't even bother with Facebook or Instagram, because my clients aren't going to be there. They're going to, you know, so something I do with some of my clients, like, you know, so for my high-end clients, I work with a press team and get them featured in magazines, you know. I would put them forward to be in different, like, radio stations, really famous yachting radio stations and things like that. Like, so, you know, so then, you know, you've got to think about, like, you know, so for a lot of my clients, like, they're in airports reading Forbes and Washington Post, and, you know, maybe the local Mallorca magazines, and, you know, that are in airports. They probably more that sort of person than scrolling through TikTok, you know, while they're waiting for their plane. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%.
Yeah. How does it feel? Does it feel sort of, is that stuff you already knew, or does it make you think how you could do things a little differently?
No, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I think I have to invent several versions of myself
Yeah.
targeted at different clients, because I have exactly what you said, and there is the client with the family and different versions. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
no, you don't
creating.
have to, you just say you. You don't have to change because you're amazing and perfect as you are, but
No,
you
no, no.
project your marketing towards your, say, 5 different clients. And, each of
Exactly.
those clients may be hanging out in a slightly different area. So one ad, or one bit of copy or one pitch goes that way to him. Let's call him Frank, and he's 58 and has 4 kids and wants to do a catamaran trip like me. And then there's, um, the guy that just wants to go out on a flotilla with his mates and get really drunk in Ibiza. And,
Right.
so they're probably going to be on the Instagrams and maybe even the TikToks and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you start just
Yeah.
really feeling into who these people are. Because a lot of us, when we're starting businesses, we're thinking about the picture we like and about, I know when I started my website, it was people would say, it's very pretty. And I was so proud of it, but it wasn't actually speaking to anyone except me, so
Right.
yeah, that's how I like to play.
What is TikTok?
It's a thing. It's a new social media thing where everyone does dances. People talk on there a lot too. I got a million views on the first account I did because I was in Antigua on holiday on a charter boat on a catamaran, and yeah, I just did like a 360 view of Barbuda, and it went ballistic. And then another one of fish. I was throwing bread into the sea, and well, I don't think you're supposed to do that. Someone did it. It fell off the side of the boat, and all these fish and sharks came and started eating it. And but it was like when I looked at it, I was like, oh my god, I've got all these hits, and my ego is going, oh, I'm really good at this TikTok. They were all like fit 14-year-old local Antiguan kids, which is gorgeous. Like,
Right.
love to send them to the National Sailing Academy, which is a charity I fully support there, but they're not going to want to work with me in business. So really, I'd wasted my day. Like, it didn't really serve me, and I couldn't really add value to their life either because we're on completely different pages. And then they all wanted to be my friend and have chats, and I'm like, and find out what, I was like, oh, this is not helping me in any way. Yeah, I'm supposed to be on holiday as well. See what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely. Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Something to explore.
something to explore for sure. Happy to have another chat to you about that later as well. Has anything else you want to ask before I ask anyone else if they've got? I'm happy to have a bit of a Q&A now.
No, it's fine.
Cool. I'm really glad you
Thank
jumped
you.
on the Zoom. Is anyone on the live stream got any questions you want to put in the box? Hey Susie, hey Simon, hey Sabrina. My picture's getting clearer. Amazing, that's great. Hey Reed, Irina, Ria's I'd love to know what she thinks because she's like the marketing guru of Mallorca. She might be like, she's crazy. We do a lot of work together. Anyone got any questions? You can just put them in the chat box if you want. No. All right. Well, because I've got so many people here, let's just take a moment. Let's just do something really fun. And let's just take a moment to let's just go into, do you know what? Everything that I was told was bad and wrong as a kid, like imaginary friends and dreaming and all this stuff is actually like a major part of my life now. So let's just daydream together for a sec. So just stop and just feel your bum on the seat and just let everything disappear for a moment. And just imagine that you had plenty of money, you could do whatever you wanted, would you actually even be doing what you're doing? Or if you're doing what you're doing, would you be more choosy? You know, I was on a call before, and we were talking about how you can get to choose to work with different people. So if you got to choose, and you were really free to work with whoever you want, whenever you want, and create a culture. You know, who would it be? How would they look? How would that team of people that you work with, or your clients, what would they be like? You know, they'd obviously pay on time. They'd obviously just be really easy. They wouldn't complain. They wouldn't ask you any questions. For some of you, they'd be coachable. For others, they'd be easy to manage. Really just feel into it and just have some fun. And think about someone that you work with that they just, every time they come back to work with you, every time they call up, it's just a joy. It doesn't feel like work. Ria's saying, I've got that right now. Yeah, you do. You're the inspiration for this talk. Ria's cultivated exactly that. Check out her website and radio show, Yachting International Radio, and look at the amazing speakers she has on there. She's like cultivated the most amazing tribe of women that represent her and her brand beautifully. So, you know, if you got to play like that for work every day, who would you play with, and how would they look? How would they show up? What character traits would you no longer have to tolerate? Imagine if you could say no to the complainy pants, to the victims, to, as one of my mentors says, Kate, she's like, you know, she won't tolerate people that have adult tantrums. Imagine not having to deal with, I know a lot of us in the Sufi yacht world, like, know all about billionaires and their adult tantrums. Imagine if you wouldn't have to worry about that. Who's this person? Why do you like working with them so much? And what do they really need? What do they really need from you at the moment? And how can you tweak your business to really give them that? To really make them feel touched and loved and inspired, and like, you know, you get to have this amazing symbiotic business between you. I just got a thumbs up from someone that's that person in my life. Really feel into what it feels like to work with that person. Feel into that person. Give them a name if it's not based on a real person. What do they love? What do they dream of? What do they secretly dream of? What do they secretly desire? What are their biggest misconceptions to the service you sell or you provide? How could you overcome those misconceptions? And what do they really want? And is that something you want to provide? Cool. How does that feel? Hopefully that's given everyone some clarity. Now just feel into that person even more. And I like to lock it in and just know that they're going to show up. Know that if you can think of it and create it, that it's either already happened or it gets to happen, and they can keep showing up. You may have to say no to some, to say make more space for the ones you really want to work with, but find a way you can do that. Awesome. Any other questions? Sweet. So give yourselves a big hug. Big hug. And just really be proud of yourselves for showing up, and just feel that love, and love's like the best immunity at the moment, and just keep showing up. be soul driven, let it come from your heart, and just step in to be brave enough to be the fully expressed version of yourself that attracts that soul tribe, those people that you want to work with. And when you're that bloody crystal clear, it gets to be that easy. Ria's is saying something amazing. This has been amazing, as I had a really bad day today, and to realise that I have all that, just needing the cash, and that will come. But that's on its way because I have the right people and the ones that inspire me. Oh, so beautiful. Awesome. All right, we'll give you some love hearts if this has been good. You can't do that on Zoom, but for those of you on the live, make me feel loved. We need lots of love right now. Love will heal everything. Okay, and I'm not getting the love hearts, but I'm going to say good night. And I love you all. And thanks so much for being on the show. And yeah, it's awesome. Feel free to hit me up if anyone wants to have like a 15-minute chat to go into this a bit deeper. I'm more than happy to do that at the moment too. I'm obviously not doing the medical training at the moment, so I'm always doing this coaching work, but I have a bit more time and energy to put into that and to this, and I just want to really help people just take everything to the next level and really work with the people they want to work with and get the results they love and that they deserve. All right, lots of love. I'll see you soon.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Natasha. We'll speak soon.
Yep.